Stick with me on this one for a minute. It has a conclusion. On July 6th of this year, Donald Trump's Department of Justice put out an unsigned memorandum about the Epstein files, saying there was no evidence that Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed anyone. There is no Epstein client list. They're not going to be releasing any further materials from the Epstein files, and there are no further crimes to be investigated. And so the Trump's DOJ was closing their investigation into Jeffrey Epstein, his network, his co-conspirators, because there were no more crimes to prosecute. Well, then, shortly after that, a Republican Congressman, Thomas Massie, and a Democratic Congressman, Khanna, got together and drafted what's called a discharge petition to compel Trump's Department of Justice and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino to release the Epstein files. It looked like that was going to come up for a vote towards the end of July. And so Mike Johnson, every year Congress has an August recess that lasts about 6 weeks. Mike Johnson, in order to prevent a vote on that, because Donald Trump doesn't want those materials released, he recessed Congress and took them out of session several days before the August recess was going to start in order to protect Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. Then Congress came back into session, then we had the budget battle, and Mike Johnson put Congress into recess again for almost 8 weeks in order to avoid a vote on the discharge petition. And Mike Johnson did that in order to protect Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump and other co-conspirators. Well, this week Congress came back into session, and Mike Johnson finally had to swear in Arizona's Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva, and she became the 218th signature on the discharge petition, making a vote of the full House on that discharge petition mandatory as a matter of law. That's going to happen. It's going to pass. There are already a large number of Republicans who have said, I'm going to vote in favor of the discharge petition. I'm going to vote in favor of compelling the Department of Justice to release the Epstein files. They're breaking with Donald Trump. Donald Trump knows what's in those files. And we've gotten a glimpse over the last 3 or 4 days with these new emails that have come out. The House of Representatives obtained, through a Democratic subpoena issued by Democrats, not Republicans, 20,000 pages of additional documents and emails obtained from the estate of Jeffrey Epstein. Donald Trump's name appears in those 20,000 documents 2,000 times. The rest of the file is between 300 to 400,000 pages of documents, not counting videos, photos, audio recordings. In 20,000 pages, Donald Trump's name appears 2,000 times. So Donald Trump, knowing what's coming, because Donald Trump knows the things that he's done. Donald Trump knows the things that he did in connection with Jeffrey Epstein. Donald Trump knows the things that he did with Jeffrey Epstein. Donald Trump knows. He knows what's in the file. Pam Bondi has told him what's in the file. Kash Patel has told him what's in the file. So Donald Trump fucking flipped out on Truth Social yesterday and demanded that his Department of Justice investigate Bill Clinton and Larry Summers and Reid Hoffman and JP Morgan and Chase Bank in connection with the Epstein files. And so yesterday, November 14th, Pam Bondi appointed one of the most powerful prosecutors in the country to lead an investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's past involvement with prominent Democrats and institutions. Jay Clayton, who is the acting U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, has been selected to lead the probe that Trump ordered, as his administration is now coming under fresh scrutiny for his past relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Excuse me. Here's the thing. In a post to Twitter announcing the pick, Pam Bondi called Jay Clayton one of the most capable and trusted prosecutors in the country. For now, I would posit that Mr. Clayton's reputation is not going to withstand what he's about to do on behalf of Donald Trump. Pam Bondi wrote, "As with all matters, the department will pursue this with urgency and integrity to deliver answers to the American people." What she left off was, "This department will pursue this with urgency and integrity to deliver answers to the American people about Democrats, not about Donald Trump, not about other Republicans that are in the file." This is perhaps one of the stupidest things that Donald Trump has ever done. Because if any of these potential defendants get charged for anything related to Jeffrey Epstein, as a part of those criminal prosecutions, they're going to have a right to what we call discovery. They're going to have a right to access, I would think, pretty much the entirety of the Epstein files in putting on their defense, in looking for exculpatory evidence, in looking for evidence of co-conspirators and things like that. Let alone, what if one of these guys wants to make a deal and says to the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, I want to make a deal. I can give you Donald Trump. I have evidence that Donald Trump did X, Y, and Z with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to make a deal. Is the prosecutor going to say no to that? This is going to make Jeffrey Epstein, the Epstein files, Donald Trump's tawdry, disgusting relationship and friendship with Jeffrey Epstein front page news day after day, month after month for the rest of Donald Trump's term as president. It's going to be all Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump all the time because Donald Trump has ordered his DOJ to engage in these prosecutions. This is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen Donald Trump do. And he's doing it because he's backed into a corner. He's a trapped, rabid raccoon, and he's lashing out. And he doesn't have a strategic or tactical bone in his body. He doesn't understand the can of worms that he's opening up. On himself. On himself. And again, let's be mindful of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump and all of these other men. They were teenage girls. They were 13, 14, 15, 16 years old. They were children. And the vast majority of them, except for Virginia Roberts Giuffre, survived these men. These young women survived Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump and these other men. And again, apart from Virginia Giuffre and Jeffrey Epstein, every single person who's involved in this shit is still alive. And how many of them are going to get dragged into this as witnesses for the defense or witnesses for the prosecution? Donald Trump thinks that he can just keep this big and focused only on these people. He is incredibly incorrect.